Welcome to 50-Foot Woman, which is what I've decided to start calling this. My name is Nicole Kemper. I am a writer, filmmaker, and performer living in Atlanta, Georgia. I have a production company called Critical Crop Top Films. I work mostly in digital formats, but recently I've been dipping my toe into more film photography, including still photography, medium format film, motion picture film, specifically 8mm film. And I have taken it upon myself to challenge myself to shoot one roll of 8mm film a month and document the process of me trying out different film stocks, trying out different cameras, learning more about filming and cinematography and working with motion picture film. And so that's what this is. This month's challenge was to really sort of test out a new camera I had purchased, the Canon 1014. I had bought several film stocks from Pro 8mm. So I bought the 50D stock, the 250D stock. So those are both daylight balanced film stocks. And also I bought the 200T. And the idea was that I was going to shoot one, maybe two rolls, and I got a little trigger happy and I shot all three rolls in 1 month. So a lot has happened since I shot those rolls. I have a lot of things to report back with in terms of my experience, but let's just start by watching the footage that came back. So this footage was purchased through Pro 8mm in Burbank, California. It was processed and scanned there as well. As we go through this process together, I'm going to try out purchasing different film stocks from different places. I'm going to try different ways to get these things processed and scanned, and I will share my process with that as well. The first roll was the 50D, so I got really excited about shooting that 50D, really enticed by that sort of fine-grained look. This was towards the end of the day. Once the excitement settled down, I realized that it was probably a better idea to shoot this in daylight, which kind of prompted the shooting almost within a couple of days of me shooting the 250D, because I was like, oh God, what if nothing came out? Although, of course, the Canon 1014 has a light meter in it, as most of these cameras do, and it's very good at telling you exactly what the aperture is. At least looking at this footage at the beginning of the roll of the bees and the lavender, that it looks kind of blue to me, which is weird because it is a daylight stock. It's not a tungsten balanced stock. So I thought it was a little strange when I got it back that it had that kind of blue tint to it. Obviously, I've got some focus issues here. What I can say about the lens on this camera is that I think it yields some really nice looking images, good depth of field. It looks like it's at some point I must have switched on the feature on the 1014, the Canon 1014 that fades up. So I'm getting these fading up sort of things in between cuts. So fading from black to picture. Or maybe I don't remember playing around with that, but it's definitely seems like it's happening. Okay, so the second roll, much brighter. This is the 250D. I can definitely see, I did shoot some of the same things just for comparison. I really like a lot of how this footage came out. It does look a bit overexposed to me, but I think that there's a lot that we can do with this. Once we get into DaVinci, where I'll be doing some color grading, I think we can really pull some nice images out of this. Again, in my limited experience that I've had in the past with film, it's I feel like it's always better to have it a little overexposed, not too much, a little overexposed rather than underexposed. If it's underexposed, it's really hard to get anything out of that image. But if it's a little overexposed, usually you can actually get some really good colors popping. Really happy with the variety of shot scales we can get, even just by zooming into things. and the detail. Obviously, when we're shooting 8mm, we're not looking for extremely fine detail. That's not really what this kind of format yields. That's the charm of it, is that it's got this sort of very deeply textured look to it. This wasn't even an incredibly bright day. It was actually pretty overcast. In fact, it did rain towards the end of this day, and I had to run home cradling my camera before the downpour came. I did miss the downpour, so my camera did not get wet, but I basically, there were other adults there, but I basically abandoned my family, and I was like, I'm sorry, but I've got to get my camera home. So then I got paranoid with the 250D. I can't remember why I shot that 200T, but I feel like it was maybe the overcast day. I don't know. For some reason, I was like, oh, what if none of these came out? I had this like panic that I was like, what if I shot 2 rolls and they're both terrible? So I couldn't control myself, and so I got that 200T out, loaded it up, and I was like, well, let's even see, like, does the internal, like, there's supposed to be an internal 85 filter that pops in, and I know a lot of people recommend bypassing that filter, but I was like, well, let's see if it works. So of course the 200T is a tungsten balanced film, but it appears to me that the light meter is working. I'm not seeing everything looks the color that I would expect. I'm not seeing any kind of like blue color cast. In a way, it almost looks better. The colors look better than the 50D. Like if you compare this footage of the bees in the lavender to the stuff on the 50D, the colors actually look better with that internal filter. I feel like there's a farmer's market that happens on Saturdays, and there's a wolf on top of a brewery, Scepter Brewing, and I wanted to get a little bit of the wolf. I think he turned out pretty well, and then I just filmed a little bit of the farmer's market. The cool thing about this farmer's market is that I did end up talking to one of the folks at the booth. They were very interested in the camera, and I'm seeing that this fade thing, I'm wondering what was I doing that caused this fading and fading out to happen. Anyway, the cool thing about the farmer's market was that the camera did attract some attention. There were several people in various different booths asking me about the camera, and you're shooting on film? How does that work? What will it look like? How long is it going to take for you to get it back? And everyone wanted an update about it when I got the footage back. So it was one of the things that unexpected side effects of me taking this camera out in public that I liked was the conversation that it created. A lot of people, some people had never really seen a person with a film camera before, and other folks who were a little older were like, oh, I had an 8mm camera when I was growing up, or, so that it was cool talking to people about their memories about working with film, 8mm film, or some folks that had never really seen, ostensibly a film, motion picture film camera. So the end of this roll was the beginning of my troubles. I turned on the slow motion, which I think looks beautiful. I love the way it looks. My daughter was on the trampoline, and I was like, this is the perfect way to test it out. And you can see where the cartridge begins to shake a bit because at that point, the trigger got stuck or the roll got caught up. Something with the the high frame rate in the 1014 caused some problems structurally within the camera. And so you can kind of see where that cartridge gets caught. And I think at some point it wasn't really advancing anymore. I did manage to wind it a bit forward and shoot a little bit more at the end here, a little bit of macro of some of the flowers and stuff. I don't think I ever really even got to the end of the cartridge. I think the cartridge just kind of got stuck at some point. So anyway, as far as the way everything looks, pretty happy with the footage. Would love to keep using this camera. A couple of problems. Once I use the high frame rate slow motion, there's a little switch on there. It looked great, but it caused the cartridge to get tripped up and kind of get stuck. And it caused what I've discovered is, I guess, it triggered, I should say, it didn't cause, it triggered a problem that apparently is common with these 1014, Canon 1014 cameras, and that is the sticky trigger. And the trigger is not stuck really so much as the camera just free runs. I've got a whole series of videos talking about this problem, what happened, how I tried to fix it. So stay tuned for more on that. But it was disappointing, I think, to have a problem with the camera so early. But as far as the couple of rolls that I was able to shoot before that problem occurred, they looked pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them. Obviously, I feel like I personally have a lot to learn, which I feel like is only going to come with time and shooting more film. So the answer, I think, to this is shoot more film. So come back. I'll tell you more about that problem I had with the Canon 1014, and we will keep trying out new challenges. We will keep pushing the boundaries of myself and my abilities to work in this medium as I continue to learn more and share what I'm learning with you.